has autism, and he has helped remove stereotypes from coast to coast regarding what it means to live with autism. And so, Russell, I want to turn to you now and go through something a little bit with regard to your diagnosis. So, you were diagnosed at age 12, and from the standpoint of today, most children that receive a diagnosis have their diagnosis by the time that they're 3. And so clearly you didn't have the benefit of early intervention like my daughter Sophia had when she was born 12 years ago. And in any event, you've achieved so much. You've overcome so many challenges. And what I'm trying to understand is what specific therapies or what did you do or what did your family do around you that allowed you to become an author, a poet, a motivational speaker?
That's a great question, and it's the question I get asked the most. And so yeah, although I experienced symptoms in hindsight of autism as a newborn, it took 12 years to get a diagnosis, which in those 12 years almost tore our family apart because we were searching for answers. So ultimately, I never received any services whatsoever aside from being in a specialty school for 2 years.
Right.
And they gave me the most vital support system, and that support, understanding, and acceptance. I'm myself am a very driven, ambitious, and tenacious individual, and I don't quit at anything. And some of that's due to my OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So all these challenges in my life, yeah, I've hit rock bottom many times, and I felt like quitting many times. But when I feel like quitting, I just don't. And so it's the catalyst behind all my success would have to be first and foremost my mother. She still gives me unconditional love. She lends her heart, her soul, her ear to me. Whether I'm succeeding or failing, functioning or not, having a meltdown or not, she's always there for me. And I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today without my mother. So that's what I always, really try to ingrain in autism families' minds is the parents, the family dynamics, the family unit has to be extremely supportive of this individual. They have to believe in the individual, and that individual will soon come to believe in themselves. Belief is contagious.
So support systems in place naturally, which all children
Mhm.
need as well.
Yeah.
Was there any specific things that mom did to direct certain therapies, be it whether it was applied behavior analysis or physical therapy or occupational therapy or just what you're saying is an unconditional loving approach? But obviously I'm sitting here with you, Scott. You're incredibly Russell, you're incredibly well spoken. You've done so much in your life. Was there some direction that mom took at 12 years old when she, got this diagnosis?
No, no. I the vast majority of my life, I was pretty low functioning. I wasn't able to speak to anyone other than my mother. I wasn't able to leave my house. I wasn't able to leave my room. And if I did, I would be covered head to toe in clothing. And I would have multiple meltdowns a day, lasting for hours. So, I'm 26 now, but up until the age of 23, I was pretty much a societal recluse. No contact with the outside world. So, my situation is unique, and that's why I became a motivational speaker.
Right.
Is because it is ironic. I used to be this. I used to suck my thumb, so I had a severe speech impediment. I was very unintelligible. So it's ironic to look back and see how I went from that unintelligible, scared little boy to the man who's being interviewed today. So the main catalyst is just belief in myself, and again, that stemmed from me seeing that my mom believed in me. So I always knew I was capable of being a productive member of society. I always knew I had something to give, but it's just my will to never give up, to keep moving forward, to run towards and not away from my fears and my challenges, because they do promote exponential personal growth and development. It's just looking at the world through my lens, I guess you can say, the lens of autism in a different perspective. I want to really stimulate myself, whether it be having a meltdown, whether it be having a panic attack, whether it be just having a rough day, or just educating myself. I take any chance I get to grow personally as an individual and as an individual on the spectrum. So I continually push myself out of my comfort zone. And
Which is I mean, I'm so impressed, Russell. I'm so glad that you're here because you give hope, obviously, to families, and I know you've been doing that exceedingly well. Scott, when we think about the Autism Society of America, this is very important because, you know, obviously I'm an attorney, and legislation and getting it passed is crucial to how we look at things in this country and how we move forward as a community. And Autism Society of America was instrumental in getting Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act passed, which prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities, as well as the Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act, the IDEA. We all know what that is. It ensures students with a disability are provided with a free and appropriate education to a tailored to the tailored needs of each individual. We had a case up before the Supreme Court just this year in which the Supreme Court of the United States specifically said that a meaningful education has to be something more than de minimis. So these things now are reaching the highest courts of the land, which is wonderful, and of course that's instrumental, or that's part of what your organization has done. Autism spectrum disorder is now the fastest growing developmental disability, as I've said, and the most underfunded in terms of research. So my question is, as a national organization, what are you doing to further encourage legislative efforts to bring about funding for autism research?
Well, I would add to the list of all the accomplishments. We were very active with the ADA, and also less than a month ago, very active in not getting the Senate bill passed for Medicaid and Medicare, Medicaid, I'm sorry, and healthcare. 20-some million people losing healthcare. Our organization is not involved on a daily basis with scientific research. We're about helping someone from the moment a diagnosis is possible or obtained till the last day of that person's life, helping that person get through life. We rely upon that research because that research helps the parents and us and the individual make better decisions. And that's not suggesting research isn't important.
Right.
We have a person on our board who's very active on the Interagency Advisory Council, which is the government's way of bringing people together. And they just a couple weeks ago at their meeting said we need to have government get more and more hours of research. But we're also realists.
Right.
And that's probably not going to happen in this political climate. And we're constantly balancing, our advocacy positions that research is very important, but when you have a tremendous amount of people not having housing when they're, or opportunities for jobs when they're 18, you're constantly looking if government has X dollars, where's the best it goes? And,
where's it going to go?
And even though research may save money in the past, we have 3.5 to 4 million people today who have autism.
Right.
So it's a very difficult balancing act. Now we work with other groups like Autism Science Foundation, Autism Speaks, and different groups that are involved in the research element and learn from them. We have a conference where we're educating people on the latest research. But in today's political climate, it's kind of like in a football analogy. You're trying to maintain that goal line stand.
And I think it's been that way for a while, Scott.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's changed recently. I mean, if it's the fastest growing developmental disability in the world and the most underfunded in terms of research, obviously this has been over the last decade, which is concerning. But hold that thought, though, Scott. Hold that thought, because we're going to actually have to go to break. But folks, please don't go anywhere. We have so much more to come. You're listening to News Radio 580 AM, 94.9 FM, Worcester's news, weather, and traffic station. Legalese. We'll be right back.
I just want to mention is one of the other issues is that so many people with autism, like your daughter, that there's 2 disorders. So
My daughter has Down syndrome.
Down syndrome,
Yeah,
not
okay,
blind.
sorry. And she's a dual
what happens
disability,
is
right?
government tries to pit us all